Hi, everyone. Thank you for your patience and thank you for hanging in there for me. Well, I am surprised that there is so little about the Heritage Foundation's case against the Department of Homeland Security with regards to Harry's visa in the media. I find these cases so frustrating. It often feels to me as if lawyers go into these cases trying to lose, wanting to lose. But let's move on and not talk about lawyers. Often I think there is very little difference between a lawyer and a politician. But let me get on with the task at hand, okay? Okay, by now, we all know that the Heritage Foundation has been challenging the Department of Homeland Security to make Harry's visa application public, arguing that he either lied on his application or got preferential and special treatment in order to enter the United States on whatever visa he entered on. That is basically it in short, and they base their arguments on his confessions of drug use in his book Spare. Okay, guys, now here is my first frustration with the Heritage Foundation's argument. Harry revealed in his book that he experimented with marijuana, cocaine, and psychedelic mushrooms in the past. Well, why on earth are they not quoting the paragraph in the very same book where he talks about rolling a joint at Tyler Perry's home in the United States? Why don't they quote Harry's ITV interview with Tom Bradby, where he, in his own words, acknowledges using drugs? I mean, just listen. Here is the clip.
There's a fair amount of drugs, marijuana, magic mushrooms, cocaine. I mean, that's going to surprise people.
But important to acknowledge.
Why on earth don't they quote what Harry said in an interview with Dr. Gabor Mate? Now, I cannot play the clips as such for copyright reasons, but I can quote from it. Harry said, "Cocaine didn't do anything for me. It was more a social thing and gave me a sense of belonging for sure. I think it probably also made me feel different to the way I was feeling, which was kind of the point. Marijuana is, however, different. That actually really did help me." Harry also told of plant-based psychedelics, and he said it was cleaning of the windscreen, cleaning of the windshield, the removal of life's filters as much as on Instagram. These layers of filters, it removed it all for me and brought me a sense of relaxation, release, comfort, a lightness that I managed to hold on to for a period of time. I started doing it recreationally and then started to realize how good it was for me. I would say it was one of the fundamental parts of my life that changed me and helped me deal with the traumas and pains of the past. Now, my friends, I may be wrong, but it is one of the fundamental parts of my life. Definitely sounds to me as if it is a permanent part of his life, a regular thing, something he is actually still doing. So there we have three more examples, one from the book and two from two different interviews where Harry admits to drug use, past and present. Listening to the interview with Mate, it also sounds like the British prince and celebrity is indeed promoting the use of drugs. I mean, who does not want to deal with the trauma and pain of the past? We all do, but most of us try to do so in a more healthy way. However, despite all of this being in the public domain, the Heritage Foundation fails to mention any of it in their deposition and arguments, and in my opinion, it would have made the case so much stronger. But if you think that is a little ridiculous or at least a little negligent, then spare a thought for John Bardo, lawyer for the DHS, who actually came into court and argued that, and I quote, the book isn't sworn testimony or proof that the Duke of Sussex did in fact take drugs. Saying something in a book doesn't necessarily make it true, he said. I wonder what Mr. Bardo smoked that morning. A slight reminder by a lawyer for the Heritage Foundation that Harry promoted his book with a number of interviews, of which the ITV one and the Mate interview were only two, and in almost every one of them he admitted and relayed a story concerning his drug use. And a very simple Google search would prove to Mr. Bardo that Harry's own father gave him, well, too short, but a stint nonetheless, in a rehabilitation center in order to try and scare him off from doing drugs. And in a follow-up video, I will tell you more stories about the younger royals or the royals and drugs, because some of them, including Harry, are not so young anymore. My point is that all this information is readily available and not just in Harry's book. There are photographs of Harry being aggressive, high, drunk. You choose, okay? Had the Heritage Foundation presented just a little bit more of these factual occurrences, Mr. Bardo could not even have been in a position to make such a ridiculous statement. The other arguable point, which we as YouTubers have argued before, and I had a feeling that at some point it would become more urgent. Anyway, at this point, it is what type of visa Harry is in the United States on. You see, under the circumstances, there are three ways Harry could have entered the United States. Either he lied on his immigration form about using drugs, or he didn't lie but he applied for a waiver, or he entered on a diplomatic visa. Unfortunately for him, Mr. Bardo took the bait and said that it was certainly plausible that Harry entered on a Category A visa, which is reserved for diplomats and foreign government officials visiting the United States for official duties. Mr. Bardo said, and I quote, "He is still a member of the British royal family and has the title of Duke of Sussex. He is still a government official in the United Kingdom by his birth and title." Well, you see, haven't we been saying this all along? Haven't we cautioned the British royal family for a couple of years now that for as long as Harry carries all those titles and is still in the line of succession, is still a councillor of state, and still on that darn website, he is technically still a representative of the British royal family. But did they listen? Did the royal family and the Privy Council and Rishi Sunak and everyone else listen when we told them so? No. The king and his chosen yes men thought they were more clever. And here you have it. Finally, a United States attorney from the Department of Homeland Security telling it like it is. But, my dears, all is not lost because there is an issue with Harry possibly having a Category A visa, and it is a huge issue. You see, diplomatic visa holders are only permitted to carry out work for their respective government while in the country. And thus, in light of the fact that Harry did his thing as chimpo for Better Up and signed profitable contracts with Netflix, it would be preposterous to think that he would be doing this kind of lucrative deal while on a Category A visa. It would be an absolute abuse of that visa. It would also point to further underhandedness and possible illegal activity if a government agent admitted Harry on a Class A visa, knowing that he is no longer a working royal. If Harry is on a Class A visa, it would also raise considerably serious questions for the British government. Okay, now I cannot see anywhere whether or not there was any kind of decision made on Friday. I guess not, because I'm sure we would have heard if there were. I also cannot see anywhere when the expected verdict from Judge Nicholas would be available or when it can be expected. I am a little concerned about the judge. He appears to favor Harry just a little bit. After all, the judge was the one who said talking about Prince Harry sounds way too informal. And he instructed, yes, he instructed everyone to talk of Harry as the Duke of Sussex. Well, Judge, technically, you should have addressed him as Prince Henry, the Duke of Sussex. That is actually his title. But hey, what would an American judge know who likely never lived in a country with royal family titles? And besides which, seeing that he lives in a country where there are no foreign titles or foreign titles are not supposed to be recognized legally, he should actually have addressed Harry as Henry Mountbatten Windsor or Henry Windsor. That would technically, in the United States, have been the right way to address Harry in a court of law. But I'm just saying. Anyway, we'll see what the judge decides, but I'm not holding my breath. The woke will win, the liberal, the faux simpatico, and justice will not prevail. Who knows? Maybe the old bro, that one who is supposed to be the future king, I think his name is William, or Pa, sent the judge a kiss of 100-year-old whiskey and begged him to do what he can to keep Harry there. For all we know. Okay, guys, as soon as I know more about the verdict, I will certainly let you know. So until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.